والذي نزل من السماء ماء بقدر فأنشرنا به بلدة ميتا كذلك تخرجون والذي خلق الأزواج كلها وجعل لكم من الخلق والأنعام ما تركبون لتستووا على ظهوره ثم تذكروا نعمة ربكم إذا استويتم عليه وتقولوا سبحان الذي سخر لنا هذا وما كنا له مقرنين وإنا إلى ربنا لمنقلبون وجعلوا له من عباده جزءا إن الإنسان لكفور مبين أم اتخذ مما يخلق بنات وأسفاكم بالبنين وإذا بشر أحدهم بما ضرب للرحمن مثلا ظل وجهه مسودا وهو كظيم أومن ينشأ في الحلية وهو في الحزام غير مبين وجعلوا الملائكة الذين هم عباد الرحمن إناثا أشهدوا خلقهم ستكتب شهادتهم ويسألون وقالوا لو شاء الرحمن ما عبدناهم ما لهم بذلك من علم إنهم إلا يخرصون صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات.
صلوات بيتك. एक और सलवार भेज दें सर. सलवार अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मुहम्मद वली भाई 4 मिसरा. सुन ले वो जिसके लिए जिक्रे अली बार है, सुन ले वो जिनके लिए जिक्रे अली बार है. आज भी पर्दे में एक हैदर करार है, आज भी पर्दे में एक हैदर करार है. और मुनकिर इश्क़ अज़ा सोच ले इतना ज़रा मुनकिरे इश्क़ अज़ा, सोच ले इतना ज़रा गैब में बैठा है जो वो भी अज़ादार है, गैब में बैठा है जो वो भी अज़ादार है, सुन ले वो जिनके लिए ज़िक्र अली बार है। सलावत जिंदगी के लिए इतना नहीं मांगा करते, जिंदगी के लिए इतना नहीं मांगा करते, मांगने वाले से कासा नहीं मांगा करते, मांगने वाले से कासा नहीं मांगा करते, और मालिके खुल्द से दुनिया नहीं मांगा करते, यार दरियाओं से कतरा नहीं मांगा करते, यार दरियाओं से कतरा नहीं मांगा करते, और करबला वालों से रोशन है ये सारा आलम, करबला वालों से रोशन है ये सारा आलम, करबला वाले उजाला नहीं मांगा करते, करबला वाले उजाला नहीं मांगा करते, और एक मशकीज़े में भर लेते हैं सारा दरिया, एक मशकीज़े में भर लेते हैं सारा दरिया, ये जो अब्बास हैं दरिया नहीं मांगा करते, ये जो अब्बास हैं दरिया नहीं मांगा करते, और मैंने मौला से फ़कत खाके शिफा मांगी है, मैंने मौला से फ़कत खाके शिफा मांगी है, लोग अपने लिए क्या क्या नहीं मांगा करते, लोग अपने लिए क्या क्या नहीं मांगा करते, और याद आ जाता है असगर का हुमकना हमको, याद आ जाता है असगर का हुमकना हमको, इसलिए हम कभी झूला नहीं मांगा करते, इसलिए हम कभी झूला नहीं मांगा करते, और मुनकिरे आले नबी से कोई उम्मीद न रखो, मुनकिरे आले नबी से कोई उम्मीद न रखो, बदअक़ीदों से अक़ीदा नहीं मांगा करते, बदअक़ीदों से अक़ीदा नहीं मांगा करते, ज़िंदगी के लिए इतना नहीं मांगा करते। सवाल होता है।
Assalamu alaikum. Few announcements, inshallah. In the morning we have a program of Majlis at Brother Raza Ali's residence in Farmington at 11 o'clock, inshallah. And then Sunday we have a Majlis at 4:30 at Brother Shaheen Sheikh's residence. So all of you requested to attend. We will have a program tomorrow at the center right at 8 o'clock, inshallah. That is going to be the third session of this 3-day workshop. I highly request all of you, or humbly request all of you, to please start coming at time. We announced the time for 8 o'clock today. It is almost 5 minutes to 9. It is now, it takes 2 hours a day to finish this long discussion on Tawheed. So without further ado, I request Maulana to please come forward. So, Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا وشفيع ذنوبنا وطبيب قلوبنا أبي القاسم محمد صل على محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في كتابه المجيد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الناس أنتم الفقراء إلى الله والله هو الغني الحميد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Today is the second session of our 3-day series. Let me very quickly review what we did yesterday. So yesterday we talked about, or we evaluated our beliefs and to see if we can really defend our belief logically. Then we looked at another argument from the devil's side, and to see if we can break that argument. And finally, we discussed why most of us are, or most people believe in God despite not having any logical, a strong logical proof to convince others. The primary reason was fitrat, innate belief. We all know within ourselves that there is a God. We know about the attributes of God, and that is why most people believe in God even though they do not have any formal training. Most of you have experienced God in your previous life, meaning previously in life, and therefore that is your reason for your strong faith. But that sometimes is not enough to convince others, right? So if I have a glass of water or a bottle of water, okay, which is cold, so I can feel that it is cold. I don't need to convince myself. I can feel it. But if you do not experience this, it is very difficult for me to convince you that this is cold. Okay? So fitrat can be a very good proof for your own self. But if someone's fitrat is blocked, if someone is not able to access his fitrat, you cannot use that argument with him unless he goes into a life-threatening situation and he establishes connection with this fitrat. So what do you do with those people? So if I need to convince you that this is cold, either I make you touch it, or any other way? How? Would you buy that? This is simple physics. Thermometer. In med school? People met in med school here. People in med school, they couldn't answer. So you take a thermometer, you dip it in water, and then I can show you, look at the temperature. And so by showing you the temperature, you would get convinced that this is cold or hot. Right? So when it comes to convincing others, you need tools. Personal experience might not work if you are not able to touch it. Right? So for those whose fitra have become contaminated, at times you have to use tools. And these tools are you call logical arguments. Okay? So not everybody needs a logical argument to convince themselves. Those of you, जिसमें हमारे बहुत से बुजुर्गान ऐसे हैं यहाँ पर कि अगर आप उनसे logical argument पूछें, if you ask them the argument behind believing in God, they might not give you a very convincing argument. They would give you a simple argument. Okay, just most of you were giving yesterday. Okay, somebody created me. How can I come out from nowhere? This chain of causality has to stop somewhere. Okay, so these are simple arguments because they are the true basis for their belief is fitrat. They've experienced God. They've seen God work in their lives, and that is why they are believing in God. Okay? But then they cannot use this to convince others. Okay. Now, when you go to colleges, when you go to universities, there you have this challenge of defending your belief or convincing others. Then this fitrat proof is not enough to convince others unless their fitrat is also active or they're listening to their fitra. But if they're not, then you need these logical arguments. And that is what we are going to do today, inshallah. Okay. But before I start that, let me ask you this question. Okay. Why do you believe in a proud God? Is God proud? He's saying no. Is God proud? He is mutakabbir. One of his names is mutakabbir.
This is the known fact after Islam, right? So we don't know at this point.
Yeah, right. I know, but you as a Muslim, this is a question to Muslims now. All of you as Muslims here, is God proud? Some of you are still. God, very good. God has no emotions, but one of his names is mutakabbir. Is being proud a good thing or a bad thing? Very good, very good. It's a good thing and a bad thing. You should be sitting in the front. Yes, yes. Go ahead. Why is it a good thing? Why is it a bad thing? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it can lead you to arrogance. So for it is our God proud? Yes. One of his names is mutakabbir. Right? That's another name, Ahsanul Khaliqeen. But my question is not about this name, it's about this name. He's mutakabbir. He doesn't want you to be proud. He's proud himself. Is that not being selfish? Is that not being selfish? Does he allow you to be proud? Yes? We are talking to Muslims right now. Yes, we are talking about your Islamic belief. Right now I'm talking about your Islamic belief before I go to the proofs. So I'm talking to Muslims here. Okay, I'm talking to Muslims here. But he does not let you worship anyone else. Does he let you worship anyone else? We say, if you worship anyone else, I'm going to throw you into hellfire. Is that not being selfish?
It's not his choice. We have the free will of choosing people.
True? Yes?
I mean, as the source of everything that exists, he deserves to be proud in a way. Like, we haven't really accomplished anything that even comes close that would, allow us to be proud in any way. And that way, there's only one person that's worthy of being called, prideful or proud.
Okay, good. Anyone else? I'm sorry? Mm-hmm. But then he doesn't let you choose anything, right? He gave you free will, but he said, if you choose this, I'm going to punish you.
But that's how it goes.
That is my objection. But that is the precise question I'm asking. Well, does he need your worship?
No, he doesn't need anything.
Then why doesn't he let you do whatever you want to do?
It's better for us. Yeah, it's better for us to choose the right path than the wrong path.
Very good. So we'll be addressing these questions towards the end of today's session if we get to, or tomorrow, and a lot many other questions similar like these. So let me start with the first proof. So again, now we are stepping back. Let us begin as, let us not use our previous faith, okay, and let us not use what we are told by our parents. So let us look at how would somebody go about establishing the existence of God. This is a proof that all of you have seen previously. It's not a new one. But the reason I'm going to bring it up here today is because we have really not thought about it. Okay? We have listened to it, we have accepted it, but we did not think about it. This universe is an organized system. Every organized system needs an organizer. Therefore, this universe has an organizer. Is this new version? It's not, you have heard this before many times, right?
Yeah.
This universe is an organized system. We see organization around us. You pick anything, it is organized. You pick an eyeball, the human body, animal, this whole ecosystem, there is organization in there. We know that organization cannot come on its own. It needs an organizer. So therefore, this universe has an organizer. What? Yeah, but either maybe then you can. Okay. So, you agree it's a good proof? Can you defend it? Can we go with this proof and defend it? Yes or no?
So Maulana, you just mentioned an organizer, right? The question yesterday was one God versus many gods. So is this enough to say?
Well, you tell me. I'm
Talking about how many organizers, but
There is an organizer.
well, this is one proof that most people use, and you have heard about it. I'm saying that, are you okay with this proof? Do you think this is a good proof? Or do you think this proof has issues?
This is true for within our scope of knowledge. The universe is huge. You know, it's bigger than our solar system. I mean, within Earth and stuff. So we know it's organized within our solar system. We don't know what's out there. So there's very possibility there could be a separate God organizing a different solar system or something.
Okay, so one of the objections one of the brothers bringing is of multiple organizers, right?
How non-Muslim this information and proof, they probably wouldn't believe it. They would want more proof.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could tell anyone that there's an organizer or if there's an organizer, but you can't tell someone that you were created specially for one reason. Because everyone was created for everyone was created for the same reason. You can't tell anyone that they were created for a different reason.
Yeah, so that's a separate discussion. Why were we created? But can you convince them of an organizer behind this universe?
I mean, I have a problem with the word organized. Like, I would think that my room is organized. My parents wouldn't agree. But like, we just
Maybe you should share a picture of your room and.
But what do we mean when we say organized? Like, they're all the time, like, planets crashing into each other and galaxies going back. I don't know if that's organized.
So another objection, how do you define an organized system? What do you mean by organized? So by organized, we mean here a collection of entities working towards a common goal. He asked a question. He said, "What do you mean by organized? How do I know this universe is organized even? Maybe it's not organized at all." That is the question he's asking. Okay, so
he's asking, what is the question on this proof that you asked?
I did not ask any question. I will ask a question now later on. So I just want to know if do you side with this proof?
So this is
So those who say we are okay with this proof, then I will ask questions.
somewhat, it is a necessary but not sufficient proof of existence of one organizer. It does say yes, there should be an organizer,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't prove that there is one or more. organizers, there will be.
We're not talking about two at the moment. We're not talking about two at the moment. Okay, you have already taken the class, so let others contribute first. Right? So dinner pehle class attend ki we let others first answer, and then from the sister side, I haven't heard anything from the sister side. Is it too difficult today? Am I making it too complicated? Okay, so this universe is an organized system. By organized, we mean a collection of entities working towards a common goal. If you look at your human body, we have different components. They work towards a common goal. You know, you eat and you have the digestive system, the respiratory system. They're working in harmony with each other to make this body function. The solar system is working in harmony with each other. It is not that everybody is doing things independent of other entities. There is order in this universe, and that is what the scientists are trying to discover. Right? They are trying to discover how this universe works with each other. So it is not very difficult to say that it is organized. And wherever there is organization, even if you cannot show, even if you do not know what is beyond what science has discovered so far, if you can show that there is organization in a limited part of the universe, that would still require an organizer.
I think, how about, there's a lot of faulty organization that happens. People still get sick, and then there's still weird bad things that happen.
So is that a chaotic situation, or they get sick because they eat something that was not suitable for them?
Well, you said that, organization is one cause.
All right. Even when you say they are sick, see those who are doing medical school, when you get fever is a sign, is an alarm that something is wrong with the body. Right? It's like having a fire alarm in the house. So even having a fire alarm in the house is part of the system. It's not chaotic. The body has discovered that there is an alien body in the body, and it needs attention. That is why you feel you have that fever. So things going wrong in the body is actually the body's response mechanism to things going wrong.
That is systematic.
So again, that is systematic.
So basically, if you see black hole eating up a whole lot of galaxies and everything, a big chaos sort of thing happening.
Yeah. So
Part of the organization.
yes, it could be. Yes. Yes.
That is, it seems like it's.
Yeah. So because we don't understand it at the moment, we would say it's chaos.
Maybe because if the black hole is eating universe in the galaxy, that might be for a reason.
Yeah. So because we don't know the reason, people might say that there is chaos, but the more they discover, the more they will realize that this was needed, for example, or it was part of the greater design. Okay. So, but one of the yes.
I mean, but by that definition, you could say that anything is organized. I can't think of anything that's unorganized, by that definition.
Except your room. Yes, okay, that is another good thing. You see, you say it is organized because based on on the efficiency of things. So you will also define organization based on what you want from that system. So if somebody was to move into this center thinking that they want to play football here, and when they will look at this arrangement, what would they say? It's too small, it's disorganized, where are the goals and where the things, right? Why? Because they came up with a different perception of what they should be doing, right? But if they knew that they're coming to a center and there's going to be a session here, then they would see, well, this is in perfect order. So if you fail to recognize why something was created, the purpose behind its creation, it is possible that you might question why this was done so. For example, there's a bit of example, a person went to the store to buy a glass of water, and the glass was put upside down. So he picked it up and he says, this has two big problems. This glass has two big problems. One, the bottom, there's no bottom, it's empty, and the second is it has no top. Right? So the shopkeeper turned it the other way and said, look at it now. He said, oh, it's perfect now. Right? The way you look at it can result in you thinking that there is chaos. But if you can see it in a different light and see that, yes, if this is what it is intended, then it makes perfect sense. Okay? Then you can claim that there is organization. and that this organization would then need an organizer, and therefore this universe has an organizer. I agree with you that yes.
If the universe is organized, then we don't need an organizer.
Why?
If it is disorganized, then we need an organizer to organize it.
But somehow was it organized by itself? Did it organize itself from the beginning? You need an organizer for organization to take place.
Just like this room is exemplifying his room, if it is a messy, so need an organizer to organize it. But when it is organized, then he doesn't need organization. Then it's already organized.
Yes. So what you're saying? Okay. Wait. Now what he's saying is, he's bringing a very interesting question. Okay, I'll address your question right now. Everybody's okay with this? Yeah. Let me. The question that he's asking is this, and I'm glad he brought this up. How can you make this conclusion from this argument? So if it is, let us assume that this is true, and this is true. This universe is organized. Every organized system needs an organizer. How do you come to this conclusion that it has an organizer? What he's saying, all it proves, it had an organizer. Like he organized his room and then he left. We don't need an organizer after that, right?
Still, somebody has to maintain that system after that. If the motor is running, somebody has to.
If the what is running?
If the motor is running, and somebody started the motor, and
So if you turn on your car and you walk inside, the car is running by itself.
it's running, but things can go wrong. Somebody has to be there to maintain it.
It can lose gas, lose electricity.
It can run out of things. The universe will run out of life as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody keep it running, you need an organizer. You need gas.
No, when the gas runs out, the car stops.
But the system is done.
Then it's over. But we also know that the universe is going to be over. Right?
Yeah, the universe is going to be over.
So maybe, so the organizer is no more there and the universe is running, and after a while it will be over.
But that does not prove that you do not need an organizer.
Yeah, so all it proves that there was once upon a time an organizer.
So it means the argument about that you need an organizer is still there, still valid.
Yes, that is valid, but it doesn't.
You will keep,
How do you keep the organizer in the picture?
that's the whole,
Yes.
story that we have to go over.
Let me clarify. If the entity inside the organization creates disturbance, then the organization jump into back in order.
Mm-hmm.
When you say the universe is an organized system, means it is an organized system. Then in my sense, it's no need of organizer. But when you say that it is imperfect system or creation by the entity, by human being, or by anywhere, means disturbance can be created by anything. Then
You're supporting me, right? Yes.
The counter argument is that
But did everybody understand the argument he's saying? He's saying that you need an organizer to organize the system. If the system is perfect, would it need maintenance? Wait. If the system is perfect, would it need maintenance? Of course. Why?
the system is perfect.
Yes.
Like everything is running on its own pace. And
Yes. And the designer looked at all possible scenarios going wrong, and he designed it based on that. He factored in every possible thing that can go wrong.
It's gonna run out of life, right?
Yeah. So would he? Why? Why no? Universe has a life, so what? Yeah, so having a life doesn't mean that you need an organizer. You see, if this is never going to go bad, it will just end in 10 years.
what I'm trying to say is that if you say that this universe is an organized system, right? This conclusion of being an organized system by itself telling that somebody has organized it, you make it organized.
Yes, so we do agree that once upon a time, this universe had an organizer. I'm accepting that.
That's it.
That's not it. It only shows it had an organizer. But you're not saying it had an organizer. How do you know that organizer is still there today?
No, we're not arguing about that.
That is what we are arguing, but that's what he's saying.
No, he's not saying that.
That is what he's saying. That is what he's saying. Ask him.
Is that what you're saying?
He's saying, how do you know he's still there? How, you don't say your belief is not that the organizer is not there today, but he was there once upon a time.
I would say zero. Where did this come from? This whole universe come from? To organize it.
You weren't there yesterday, were you? Yes. Yeah, we addressed that yesterday. Yes. Then it will take us till 12. Yeah, I will repeat it, inshallah. But within, the session will become longer and longer. So, yeah, so what is your question?
Who created this?
We don't know.
Universe.
We don't know. We don't know. Do you know? How? How did you get to know that?
This is our religion.
Right. Is that a good proof? Is that a reason why others should believe in you? No. Yeah. So how did you get here? So we need to get to that point. We need.
That's very true. And if you believe in all the science and what they come up with, they believe in some
Big Bang Theory, yeah.
and all that. It was start from nothing. It's explained.
Yeah. So all of this discussion we had it yesterday because we don't want to take that approach because you're not going to get anywhere with that. So what he's saying is, how do you know that organizer is still there today?
We don't know. This theory is incomplete to explain that.
Okay. How do you know there's only one organizer? Maybe there are multiple organizers.
If you have two organizers, there will be some disagreement. Brothers, let's raise hands so Maulana can pick who's answering. Otherwise, there are others who want to answer and they are not agreeing.
Okay, go ahead. Yes. So, have you attended my class before?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So you'll get later, chance later. Yes. Chaos and corruption. Yeah, chaos is an answer. Sister, I have not heard no answer from sister side. So you need to participate. Can there be multiple? What if if we have multiple organizers? Yes. There would be disagreements. Maybe that is why we have the tsunamis and the volcanoes and all that problems.
What if two organizers are multiple? They are in harmony.
What if they agree not to disagree? Well, you'll have a disagreement only when they're greedy, right? When they differ, when they have difference of opinion. But if there is no difference of opinion,
But if they were having like no arguments, that means they were perfect as a human being, or not even a human being, as a creature.
It means they are a single being.
mhm.
Yeah, they would like be perfect. Whoever like if there's an organizer, somebody has to make the organizer to have more organizers.
Oh, that reason he raised another question. So who made the organizer? That's not a big question then.
If there are multiple organizers, that means they were created. If there are multiple organizers and they have harmony between each other, that means someone organized the harmony between them.
Yes. Now we have a very very wide range of audience here with kids under. How old are you? 11, 7. This workshop is more intended towards 15 and above. So either we address this or we address the other audience. I can't take it with both audience because of the sensitivity of their age and the limitation of their thought process. I can really ask more serious questions with little kids around, because then if they don't understand the answers later on, that will have more serious consequences.
Maulana, I suggest only if other brothers agree that we can, or just for today, release the children and they can go and play. And it's generally better for them.
Yes, they already know all the answers. That's why they already know all the answers. So they really know, the adults don't know the answers.
It is better for them that they
Uh-huh. You can come back in 15 minutes when I ask the adults, because you give all the answers. You give all the answers and it becomes difficult for me. So you can come back in 15 minutes.
30 minutes.
Yeah, 15 minutes is good. So you be back in 15 minutes. 30 minutes? Okay, anyway, wait. Yeah, because no, go. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. You see, kids at that age, this is not suitable for them, right? Because kids when they are that age, and this is something all of you should take with you. Kids at that age, they believe in God because of their fitrat, and that is what our responsibility is. We should strengthen their fitrat. But once you grow out of that, and you're 15, 16, 17, and you're going to college, then you also have a mind, and you start thinking, and then you face all these doubts. So it is important that they don't get exposed to these ideas or such doubts at this age. Okay, so that is why we had that announcement in the email as well, that the particular age is important. And if they're here, then I can't really have that discussion. Well, thank you for taking care of that. I apologize if your kids had to move out. But it is not for kids, this is for adults. Multiple organizers. What if there are multiple organizers working in harmony? How would you know there's only one? Okay, so these are questions. How would you know that organizer? Well, what if it was the Big Bang that created all of it? So maybe it is Mother Nature that organized all of it. You need an organizer, accept an organizer, but I say it's the Mother Nature that organized all of it.
Big Bang does not even explain itself. They say infinite mass expanded into the universe.
I'm just saying, maybe it's that. Maybe Mother Nature is a set of rules that govern this universe. When you say the organizer, do you allow me to ask this question, where did the organizer come from? Do you allow me to ask this question? No. So why are you asking that question to me then? Right? Okay, so the issue with, there is no issue with this proof. This proof is actually a very robust proof, but the fact that we have not thought about it carefully is reason why. You have been listening to this proof for so many years, right? It's not the first time you're exposed to it. But in less than 15 minutes, you're stumped, right? Because we really didn't think about it. It is possible by adding one or two more statements to show that the organizer is still there, and that by adding another statement that there is only one organizer, there cannot be more than one organizer, as one of the children answered that. It is easy to show that. But that is what I don't want, that is not what I want to do in this today or in this class. The focus of today's discussion is proof number 2, okay? And that is what, because with this proof number 1, when you're talking to university students, we're talking to philosophers, then you will be limited with proof number 1. Well, they bring about the probability theory, they'll bring about Big Bang theory and evolution and Darwin's theory and all of these, and you will be cornered. Proof 1 basically relies on your fitra again, and that is why you have taken this proof for granted and didn't think about it. So when we don't want to do that, when you are facing those people who have more challenging questions to ask, then you have to switch to proof number 2. Okay, this is why we are having this workshop today. So let me start with this statement. All that exists, okay? All that exists is either dependent or independent. Okay? What do I mean by dependent and what do I mean by independent? Okay, anything, okay, can I have this bottle please? Yeah. So anything that has a dependency, anything that depends to exist to subsist, to retain itself, to stay into existence, is dependent. This is my definition of dependent. Anything that is dependent on something else in any form, any way, I call that a dependent being. Okay? And by definition, an independent being would be? No, you are not allowed to speak. Yes, independent would be? Does not need, does not depend on anything to exist or stay into existence. Are you dependent beings? Yes? So let's look at some examples of dependent beings. So you think you are dependent beings? What do you depend on? Okay. So you depend on, so humans are dependent beings. What else? Other examples of dependent beings? Animals, trees.
The whole ecosystem.
I'm sorry?
Whatever is created is dependent.
Okay, what about the rocks? How do you know rocks? Rocks are dependent or independent?
They are dependent.
How do you know?
What if what is made of rock is atoms, right? What atoms hold is forced in, right?
Very good. So what you're saying, where did I put the, okay. So what you're saying is, so let us come up with some of the signs to some of the qualities of dependent beings, okay? So let us discover that so that we can use. So one, you're saying if anything is composed of atoms or composed of parts, that will be dependent. Is that a fair statement? Anything that has parts. Yes? And any issues with this? Anything that has parts, because it would be dependent on its parts to come together. What else? Any other sign of dependent beings? Is this dependent? Let us assume that you don't know it has parts. Any other way of telling this if this is dependent?
Everything which got atoms, as you said, it got atoms.
So if you don't know this has atoms. So let us assume if you don't know. Is there any other way of knowing that this is dependent? Yes?
Somebody had to make it.
Okay, very good. So if it was created, would this show that this is dependent? If you can show that something is created, that would make it dependent. What else? Very good. If something can be destroyed, what does that tell you?
It's dependent on something for not to destroy it.
Right. So for this to exist, for example, if you have no knowledge of its past, you don't know if it was created, but the fact that it can be destroyed means that in order to exist, it needs favorable conditions to exist. So there is a need, there is a dependency here. Right? So if anything can be destroyed, it is going to be dependent. What else? If anything can be influenced or transformed from one state to the other, that would mean? Everybody's with me? If anything, okay, so based on that, if anything is matter, is it going to be dependent or independent? Matter is dependent. What else? In one sentence, can I say, if anything is needy, it is dependent? Yeah? So if I can establish need to exist, need to be created, need to stay alive. So if I can establish need, it is dependent. anything that is matter is dependent. So anything that I can see will be dependent. Anything that I can see will be dependent. Why? Yes. Are you with me? Yeah. So anything, why? Because you can see only those things that are material. So if you can see something, that something is going to be dependent. Right? Yes or no? If you have issues, yes. Okay. Very good. Yes. Yes. Yes.
It's there.
What? Yeah. Air. For example, air. The air is around us. We can't see it. Is it dependent or independent? Is it dependent or independent? It's dependent. So you don't have to have all of these. If you can show one of these, you're done. Right? So if I can, what about the soul? If it exists, the soul is dependent or independent? Ruh hamari. It needs a body. Very good. It was created. It needs a body to do things in this world. Right? Can it be transformed? Can it be influenced? So if you can show one of these, is it needy? It can be transformed. It gets happy. It gets sad. So these are states. Change of states implies dependency. Okay? Everybody's till now we are on the same page. Any questions? If there are any questions, let me know.
But Maulana, let me ask you this. So once the matter is destroyed, right? Is it still dependent? It won't be anymore. If something is destroyed, if there's a
Well, we are saying all that exists. So if something doesn't exist, we're not talking about that.
If there's a stone, we're talking about stone with multiple atoms and stuff. Would you destroy the stone by a hammer?
Okay, you break the stone. Okay.
What is it dependent
The smaller pieces now, the stone is no more there.
Yeah.
But you have smaller pieces of stone. Are they dependent?
Within themselves. Okay.
Yeah. So it can transform, right? You can melt it.
You can explode a nuclear bomb. This energy is converting to energy.
Okay, so thank you. Now, independent. So by definition, now let us look at, by comparison, let us look at the attributes of the independent beings. So if these are the attributes of the dependent being, what would be the attributes of the independent being? So it will would not be created, no beginning. No ending. No parts. Cannot be transformed. Not matter. It's not needy. In other words, there are no imperfections in it. It has to be perfect, right? Agree? Everybody agrees? Ji, up. Are you with me? Yeah. Do you agree, or you'll raise your questions later on? No, but then we move forward, and then you come back here and object. Then we'll have a problem.
I will object with the example.
I'm not giving an example right now.
In my mind.
Is this theoretically correct? I'm not going to comment on that right now. We are taking simple logical steps. We are taking simple logical steps. So these are attributes. Call it whatever you want to call it. G. Is there a logical fallacy? Is there a logical problem with this discussion that we just did?
the statement which is like all that exists is either dependent or independent, is how it can be independent.
Okay, so he's saying maybe the statement is wrong. Anybody have a problem with this statement?
No, but the definition of independent being.
Yeah. Is anybody else? Is there a problem with this statement? What if I say everybody, all people in this room, pick anyone, they're either going to be Pakistani or Indian? Is that a true statement? No. Right? Anybody in this room, they're going to be either American or Canadian? True statement? Yes? Without knowing who is sitting in the room? No, it's not a true statement. Anyone in this room is American or Canadian? Yes, or American or Canadian.
There's more than two of those categories.
Anyone. So if you find one,
No. Pick anyone in this room. Pick anyone in this room of your choice. It's wrong. So how do you know this is right? If I was to say pick anyone in this room, they're going to be Canadian or non-Canadian.
Then that can be true.
Not can be. It is true.
Yeah, it's a binary choice.
Right? That will always be true without even knowing. So I say, well, the library, the public library in downtown, pick any book from that library. It is going to be in English or non-English. Is that a true statement? I can never be wrong. Well, it might not have a book in Chinese language, for example, or Arabic or whatever, but the statement is true.
What if somebody's doing dual national, American and Canadian?
It's still true. It's still true. Okay. Okay. So this statement is true because this is like American and non-American, right? So this statement is true. Agreed? Yeah. So this statement is true. These would be the attributes of dependent beings. These would be attributes of independent beings. Are you with us still? Accepted? You can back out now. Okay, now if dependent beings exist, they should have these attributes. Yeah, if independent beings exist, they should have these, all of them, right? Then can that independent being be seen with your eyes? Can you see that independent being with your eyes?
no.
Why?
Well, then no matter. No matter.
Then it's dependent. So if you can see something, it becomes dependent. So let me add another thing, cannot be seen. So if it gets proven that there is an independent being, don't ask me this question, well, if there is God, why can't I see him? Very good, cannot be touched, cannot be smelled, cannot be felt with your senses, with your five senses. Agreed?
One argument says carbon monoxide cannot be seen or smelled.
Okay. We don't say, we don't, but does it have parts? If it has parts, it's dependent. So it's dependent. It can be converted from one form to another. You can break it down, you can add on to it. Okay. So it cannot be seen, cannot be touched, cannot be smelled, cannot be felt.
You said, but you're establishing something I cannot jump too much farther. We can still say you can't hear, right? And we are driving towards.
I can't say, I did not say we cannot hear, I did not write that. It cannot be seen, cannot be touched, cannot be smelt, cannot be felt. Okay, very good. So hearing is a sense. So can you hear? What are the things that you can hear? Sound waves. They are in matter. They are in matter. Yeah, so this is a question that you will ask once we establish independent being and we go far ahead. That is, keep that question to yourself. We will have to address that question. Yes, so make sure that you do ask this question and I don't leave without answering it. Yes. I'm sorry? Very good. So he's saying he doesn't agree with the statement.
Exactly. And then Wi-Fi signal. You cannot see them, you cannot trace them, you cannot smell them, but they're dependent. Or
Fine. So Wi-Fi signals are dependent. What they created? What they created? Wait, let me answer. Were they created? Yes. So the moment they're created, they're dependent. So yes, what I'm saying, I'm not saying that only matter is dependent. You can have things that you cannot see, you cannot touch, like the soul. The human soul cannot be seen, cannot be touched, cannot be felt. It is dependent because it has at least one of these. You find one of these, it's dependent. For independent, it has to have all of these. What? Or not dependent.
Or just all that exists is dependent. That's it. Right. That's what I think.
Yeah. So that is okay. That is these two brothers are saying that this statement is wrong. Are you saying this statement is false?
Yeah.
You're saying we should have said all that exists. Now this statement is true. This statement is true. Okay. Okay. G. We can take a break if you want to discuss among yourselves. We can take a break and then we can come back and continue. Yeah. So let us. We're not taking official breaks. So just discuss among yourselves, and then we'll get back to it. So 3 minutes. You can talk to each other, discuss, and we'll continue from there. So 3 minutes. Think. Salawat wo kafi hai. Let them think.
Talk during this 3 minutes or not?
With me?
Yeah.
No, not with me. No, there is lots of water. Thank you. Okay, 3 minutes are over. Salawat, please. Okay. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Wa bihi nasta'in. Yes. Did you figure this out or should I answer it?
Oh, no. I still going to stick with my answer.
Okay.
Everything is dependent. And there is no beginning, it doesn't exist.
So this.
If there's no ending, it doesn't exist to me.
You might contest that there is no such thing as the independent being.
Right.
But this statement still is not wrong. Because is there any New Zealand person from New Zealand in this room? No. Right? There is none, right? You know there is no person from New Zealand in this room.
But they do exist.
Yeah, fine, but let's look at this room. Can I say, pick anyone from this room, he's either going to be from New Zealand or from a country other than New Zealand? Is this a true statement? Is it a true statement?
But we are talking about everything in general.
Yes.
So you're like,
I'm thinking about everything. So let this room be everything in general. Okay? So we're talking about this room. In this room, if I make this statement, pick anyone in this room, they're either going to be from New Zealand or from a country other than New Zealand. Is that a true statement?
I don't agree.
Is that a true statement? Why not?
No, I can make a statement too, but
Make a statement. If the statement makes sense, I have to agree.
no, it's like, first of all, then take out all, then just, exist over here. You were like talking about everything in general, and all of a sudden, when you give my examples, you give a really small example.
No, look. There are things that exist, right? There are things that exist. Right? Do you know each and everything that exists?
No.
You know there are certain things that are dependent. You are dependent, I am dependent, right? But we don't know. No, you are jumping. Everything is dependent. Where did you get that from? No, but you have not. We know certain things, and based on that we came up with these. There can be other things that we don't know that exist out there. Is it possible? Of course possible. So in order to be sure that this statement is 100% true, I really don't agree with this statement because I don't know. There might be something that is independent. I might not know. You don't know as of today. Right? You don't know as of today. Do you know independent does not exist?
Everything is independent to each other. So it's like, independent.
All the things that you have seen are dependent. Yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Even in the universe.
In the universe, everything that you have seen is dependent. Can there be things that you have not seen yet?
They still be dependent.
How do you know that?
It's just logical.
No. No, it's not logical. You cannot say that it is logical. How can you say it is logical? In order to make this statement true, it's either dependent. If you add this, you see, if I say this, I'm not claiming that there are independent beings. I'm not claiming that. I'm just making a true statement.
How, then give me an example of independent man.
No, I'm not giving example. I don't know if it exists. I don't know.
Then we cannot say all things that exist,
Why not?
because we don't know.
This set could be empty. You see, this I can say anyone in this room is either from New Zealand or from any other country. While there is no one from New Zealand, the statement is still true. The statement is still true. The set could be empty.
Yes, this is true, but
The same for this universe. The same for this universe. Everybody else is with me, right? They understand the statement has to be true if you put it in this way. Right? You have to think about it. It will, any color, pick any color, it is going to be blue or not blue. Is that a true statement? It's always, it will always be true. But the statement that pick anything and it is going to be blue only, can be proven wrong tomorrow. Right? So this can be proven wrong tomorrow. But this can never be proven wrong. No, we are not saying, what you're, I'm not saying independent exists. You tell me, if you say there are only, this is a male majlis today, for example, okay? If you say this is a male majlis today, I can still make the statement, anyone in this room is either male or female. That statement is still true. That statement is still true, even if there are no females in the room. Yeah, male or non-male. That statement would still be true. Okay. Okay, so inshallah, in due time, maybe you'll get to the conclusion. Okay, so all that exists, everybody else will be right. You all agree that all that exists, it is either going to be dependent or independent. Maybe everything is dependent. Maybe everything in this universe is dependent, and the independent does not exist. I don't have a problem with that. But this statement is true. This statement can never be proven wrong. However, this statement could be wrong. Okay, this statement, you cannot say with 100% surety that this statement is always true. Yes?
Means I want to make a simple example for him. For example, if he wanted to contest in election, he has to depend on the affiliate with the party or just stand independent. So he can say, I am, or the statement can be true like this way, I am contesting to Republican Party or no party. So it's the same way, that's what Maulana is saying. So consider it in that sense. So you are either dependent or either dependent with some political affiliation or
Yes.
So the two qualities you have described, right? For one for dependent and independent. What are those there?
These are additional qualities. These are also additional qualities.
But those additional qualities work for both sides, right?
Yeah, so these are all and.
Oh, these are all and. Okay, got it.
These are ours. Okay. Okay, the youth are with me? Yeah. Okay. So these are attributes of the dependent being. These are attributes of the independent being. If the independent being exists, it will not have a beginning. It will not have an ending. It will not have parts. It cannot be transformed. It will not have any kind of need. It will be perfect. What about this law? Does this law apply to the independent being? Yeah, so anything that has a cause is dependent. So this law does not apply to independent beings. So basically, this is what this law is saying. Every dependent thing has a cause. Those who think that everything is dependent, they can probably say that everything has a cause. But in reality, this is what you're saying. Every dependent thing has a cause. If we can show that there is an independent being, then don't ask me this question, who created the independent being? Right? Because that question, who created the independent being, applies to dependent beings only. Any questions? Should I wipe this off? You have to remember this. These are the attributes that we attribute to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? So if we can show the independent being exists, we would be proving our proof in God. That would be proving the existence of God. Yeah, he lacks those things that makes him dependent. Okay? Now, if you look at all that exists,
is it this statement would be right? Every matter, state of matter, or function of matter, or phenomena of
a dependency, and which consider pretty much all the universe. So except one entity, we can put it independent.
We don't know about independent beings right now. I'm not claiming, I'm not making any claims right now. We know matter exists, that is all we know. Is there anything independent? We don't know. Fair enough?
Yeah.
Fair enough, right? Makes sense? Now look at this. So now we have the
Phenomena. I also think phenomena.
So if you look at the entire universe, so in the entire universe, now you have only 4 logical possibilities. Only 4. Either everything is dependent and there is no such thing as independent, as the brother was saying. You have everything is dependent, there is no such thing as independent. Either this is how the universe is organized, or whatever exists is organized, or you have dependent beings and you have independent beings, or there's no dependent being, only independent beings, or nothing exists.
But independent would define it above the matter.
Definitely.
So then it means we cannot compare with apple to apple.
We are not comparing. We are not comparing. We are saying existence. So या सब कुछ डिपेंडेंट है, या सब कुछ इंडिपेंडेंट है, या कुछ भी नहीं है, या दोनों हैं. Logically it's only 4 possibilities. You don't have a 5th possibility. Is this possible? No. What? Do you exist? Do you exist? No, not we, not we. Do you exist? Then I should. Are you seeing me at the moment? Are you seeing me at the moment? Wait. Let him answer. Please. Do you see me at the moment? Maybe, you could be imagining me. So you have to exist to imagine me. You have to exist to imagine me. Maybe you're imagining the whole world, but you are there alone. If you are not there, you would not be imagining. But then still you could be dreaming. Somebody is dreaming. So somebody is there. So the system is there. So the system is there. Something is there. Something is there.
So we're saying that anything we can see exists, right?
No, we are not saying that. We did not say anything that we can see exists. No, we are not saying that. We are just saying, if anything, we know that dependent beings exist. And then we say, we don't know if independent beings exist. But dependent beings exist for sure. Okay. Now it is possible that dependent beings might exist along with dependent beings. Independent beings might exist along with dependent, or there are only dependent beings and no such independent being. This is also not possible.
Seeing part, he's asking why. If you can see something, that means that it exists, right?
It means it is dependent if it exists. Maybe you're dreaming it. You could be hallucinating. Yeah, you could be hallucinating. So that might be something of your imagination. But you, regarding yourself, you know that you exist. Okay, so this is also not true. Okay? So it's either this or this. If this is true, this is the atheistic view, right? Right? And this is the theistic view. If I can show that this is impossible, you'll have to accept this.
Yeah, there will be only one possibility after
ठीक है? Can I wipe this off? So dependent, independent. Okay. So it's either this or this. If you doubt your own existence, how did you say everything is dependent? Think about that. Okay. All that exists is either dependent or independent. Dependent beings exist. True statement? I'm going to make a claim here, okay? This is a claim. Dependent beings cannot exist without independent beings. This is a claim. Don't get worried. Okay? If this claim is true, what is the result? Yeah, independent beings exist, right? If I can show that dependent beings cannot exist without independent beings, then you have to accept that they are independent beings. Sab mere saath hain? Yeah. Okay. So let us go with this option. Okay. So let me assume. So this is the assumption. I'm going to do a proof by contradiction. So assumption, everything is dependent. This is the assumption. Everything is dependent. Independent है ही नहीं. ठीक है? क्योंकि अगर ये गलत साबित हो जाए, if this is proven wrong, we establish that. So अगर if this is the scenario, everything is dependent. So if you have 5 dependent beings, so A has to depend on B because it's dependent. B will depend on C, D on E. What would this depend on? A. Okay. Or you can have this arrangement, or you'd have this arrangement. I'll have to wipe it off. So A depends on B. So A depends on B, B depends on C, C depends on D, D depends on E. So it's either this arrangement of dependencies or linear dependency, right? Or a combination of the two. Yeah, crisscross again. Crisscross, you can break crisscross into linear, because this again ends up being one node. And this is another version of the crisscross one. You can have crisscross like this as well.
It could also be dependent on B and C.
Yeah, so you can have multiple dependencies, but still it is, so this entire system can be taken as one dependent being. So it's either circular.
You want to make a closed loop or open?
Yes.
Well, if you do it on the right side, will E be independent?
Yes, we will talk about that. We'll talk about that. Okay. So let us look at the simple case of circular dependency. So you have A and you have B. A depending on B and B depending on A. Is that possible, logically speaking? A depends on B to exist. B depends on A to exist. Yes.
There might be something that B doesn't have that gets from A, and A doesn't have that gets from.
So in order for A to pop into existence, It needs, but B needs something from A. What? No, but there is no such thing as nature, there are only these two things. There's nothing else. So what you are saying, A should be there before B. And B should be there before A. Impossible.
What if we have like a situation like a buyer and seller, right? And the buyer does not exist as a buyer unless there's someone to buy from, right? Unless there's a seller to buy from.
No, these are titles. Buyer is a title that you give after he does something. So, okay. G. The question is that possible? Logically possible? Some people are still confused.
No.
It's not logically possible because what you're saying, this is what you're saying. You're saying that A exists before B and B exists before A. So basically you're saying that A exists before A. In other words, this is a contradiction, it's a logical contradiction, this cannot be true. Right? I know everybody's tired, so we can take a, I see, no, it's going to get
Yeah, it's fine.
it's fine, everybody's okay with this?
Yes.
No, I see some. Okay, you're just waiting for me to get tired. So this is a logical impossibility, right? Okay. So the only thing that you can claim is that these chains are dependent in linear fashion. A depends on B, B depends on C, C on D, and D on E. So if there are only limited number of dependent beings, what does E depend on? Either it depends on A, which is this, it's impossible, or it depends on nothing, then it becomes independent.
But same as A, right?
No, A depends on B.
Oh, it depends on B.
So A depends on B, B depends on C, C depends on D, D depends on E. So what does E depend on? If you say it doesn't depend on anything, it is independent. And is there any way out? Yes, there is a way out. Wait, the youth come, there's a way out here. You come up with very good, objections to the existence of God. Give me a way out. So you are convinced that there has to be an independent being now? Because if it, what? If it's this, so how is it then?
Because you're comparing between independent and dependent.
We're not comparing. We are saying we just said that we are assuming this is true. We are saying everything is dependent. So it has to be linear dependency. So let us assume there are 5 dependent beings. So this will depend on this. You have to come up with dependencies now. This depends on this. This depends on this. This depends on this. What does this depend on? It's dependent, right? That's the assumption. So what does this depend on? Either something, very good. So maybe you can say, well, it depends on F. What does F depend on? G, very good. What does G depend on? If you make it stop, then it's independent, right? The only way around it is to say that it goes on forever. G.
Why everything is linear? G could depend on all the others.
So that's circular. That's circular.
Because if it's circular, that means.
He had a question.
Because if it's circular, then that means God's dependent on us and we're dependent.
We're not talking about God right now. We're not talking about God at all. So circular is illogical.
No, but even with circular, you can get an independent because A.
Well, you can get an independent. You can get. Well, you can. Well, circular is possible with the independent being. Yes. So circular. We are saying this is the assumption. There is no independent being. Because he says that everything is dependent. He's saying everything is dependent. Wait. Let me finish. So he's saying everything is dependent. With that possibility, you cannot have this. Okay, we cannot have this. And what about this? You cannot have this if with limited number of dependent beings. It has to be, the only argument you can say, well, this chain goes on forever. This depends on 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 this, because if you stop, if you say, well, this is the final element of the chain, my question would be, what does this depend on? What would your answer be? Nothing. If you say nothing, then you've accepted an independent being, right? And if you say it depends on A again, that's wrong. So the only way out for you now is to say, well, G depends on H. What does this depend on? I. What does this depend on? It goes forever. Just keeps on going. That is the only way you can escape this scenario, G. Is that possible? Is an infinite dependency, like dependence on each other going on? Is that even possible? That is the answer. We need to answer. Can we have a chain of dependencies like this going on forever? Because if you say no, you have to accept that then this is not possible. The moment you say it has to stop, you have accepted an independent being. If you don't say it stop, then you have to say that it goes on for forever. Maybe that is how it is. Maybe. Right? Is it possible to have a chain like this going on forever? That is my question. Forget your belief. Forget your belief forget your belief. Forget your belief. नहीं आप नहीं करें ना आप करें आप कंटिन्यू करें पता है आप अपनी बात करें आप अपनी बात करें हम एथिस्ट की बात अभी छोड़ दें yeah what is wrong with this keep on going like forever he says there's nothing wrong with it they're all dependent and it keeps on going forever no problem how do you start the chain
That's where the independent comes.
So if it is dependent, it has to have n in beginning.
very good it has to have he's saying no it does not have to have a beginning
That is not dependent, it's independent.
he said the chain does not have a beginning that's what he's saying let me show why this is not possible we are saying going on forever okay don't get confused with the word infinity we're saying that this goes on forever okay so look at this chain A depends on B right B depends on C when will A come into existence right when will A come into existence when there is B is B there yet why because it depends on C so A is not there yet it's waiting for B to come into existence so that it can gain its existence. B is waiting on C. C is waiting on? Yeah, so because there's a dependency. There is a dependency. You have to establish that this is there, right? But this cannot be there if this until this is there. This is not there yet. This is not there yet. Do these exist? No. If this goes on forever, nothing will exist. If you say that this chain goes on forever, nothing can exist. So if you see B existing, what conclusion can you make? There's an end to it. The moment you see one thing existing, you can claim that the chain has a beginning.
Yeah. If B by itself exists, it cannot exist. It has to have C.
And this cannot exist by itself. It has to have someone. And so if they all cannot exist by itself, they cannot go on forever.
So if any of them exist,
That means
existence of previous one should be
there. So which means that independent has to exist. Which means that the chain has to stop. Because if it goes on forever, nothing will exist forever. Let me give you another example, right? He is not happy with what I'm saying, so he wants to shoot me. Okay? But he can't shoot until he gets his orders from this person, because he's dependent. He takes his orders from this person. He takes his order from this person. He takes his order from this person. Right? And if this goes on forever, when will he shoot me? Never. So if you hear a gunshot, what does that mean?
That was the end of it. That's where it stopped.
That there was a beginning. There was someone who did not depend on his superior. The moment you hear a gunshot, what conclusion can you draw? There is the ultimate boss out there who does not need orders from anybody else. The moment you see one dependent being, you're done. You have to now admit that the chain has ended. So you cannot, so my claim was that the dependent beings cannot exist on its own. So you cannot have a system with dependent beings only. This is the only last option left for you. No, the other two are already not possible.
Isn't the hybrid model, right? This is both the one that is that the hybrid model is logic in this, the circular, close to.
No, you come up with any other. You come up with any other hybrid model. It is breakable into this. We'll take a 5-minute break. We'll take a 5-minute break. If you want to drink water, take a 5-minute break, discuss among yourselves. And there's some very important results that we need to draw. So please don't leave. We will finish, inshallah, very soon. And there's some very, very important results that we're going to draw from this discussion. Salawat, please. जी sure. Standard one, एक चम्मच या 1.5 चम्मच डाल दीजिएगा.
Where are you from? Toronto?
Home.
Huh? Home. Oh, mashallah, mashallah. My brother was in Toronto.
Sorry. आपको मैं तंग कर रहा हूँ वहाँ बैठ के ये कि तो टेक्निकली हम लोग एग्जिस्ट नहीं करते जैसे वो कह रहे हैं डिपेंडेंट होना एक इंडिपेंडेंट होना
इंडिपेंडेंट नहीं है
वही तो कह रहे हैं
आपकी एग्जिस्टेंस डिपेंडेंट है ये मतलब ये मैं इंडिपेंडेंट
अगर इंडिपेंडेंस कोई है नहीं ना आपके पास
वरना नहीं कर
मिल गया ना?
नहीं मिला।
आपका वजूद हमें बता रहा है कि डिपेंडेंट है।
ऐसे वही हमारा वजूद है या हम लोग ऐसे ही बस है?
You can feel it, I can feel it, you can see it, you can feel it. That means they are. आप नहीं है, आप नहीं है। क्या पता नहीं,
कोई भी नहीं हो यहाँ।
ऐसा आर्गुमेंट ना करें for the sake of
नहीं नहीं, I mean, ऐसे ही जैसा